المباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، سيما ولي الله الحجة ابن الحسن صاحب الأمر والزمان. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. صدق الله العلي العظيم وآمنا به. زينوا مجالسكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Ahibba'i, before we begin the lecture for tonight, there is also a request from the kindness of your heart, brothers who are sitting down, if you're able to move a little bit more forward, there is space for the brothers who are still joining us in the majlis. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Ahibba'i, as we said yesterday, and ta'akidan, these majalis Fatimiyyah are majalis of barakah. These majalis Fatimiyyah are majalis of shafa'ah and shifa'ah. Shafa'ah, and we have narrations on the authority of our sixth Imam that the Yawmul Qiyamah, when the entire khalq is lined up in the mahshar waiting for accountability, Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen will pass through the mahshar and Jibreel will make an announcement: O creation, lower your gaze, Ghaddu absarakum, lower your gaze, for indeed Fatima, the daughter of Rasulullah, is walking through or passing through the mahshar to go into Jannah. The narration mentions she is surrounded by 70,000 angels. And as she goes she approaches the gates of paradise, she turns around and she says, Ya Allah, my Shia, those who loved me and those who loved my children, I want to intercede for them. The narration mentions Allah will grant her the permission. She comes down to the mahshar and she selects and she intercedes for her Shia one by one. They say, just like the way the hadith says, just like the way you find when a hen, how it pecks its food one by one from the ground, grain by grain. Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen will pick people one by one to enter into Jannah. فَإِنْتُمْ أَحِبَّائِ, your presence in these majalis Fatimiyyah is what qualifies us for that shafa'ah for Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen, whereby a person can say, Ya Zahra, Ya Allah, we were sinners, we were not perfect, but we loved you. And we demonstrated our love through this majalis. At the end of the day, none of us are perfect. Each and every one of us are in need of this intercession. Number two, shifa'a ya ikhwani. It is through the barakat of these majalis that these Husayniyas, these Imam Barkas are surrounded with the presence of malaika. We may not be able to see them, but they surround us. Du'as are accepted in these majalis. Hajat are accepted in these majalis. Sicknesses are cured in this majalis. فأحبائي, as we invoke Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen, let us pray for those mu'mineen and mu'minat who are not in the best of health. May Allah grant each and every one of them shifa'a, insha'Allah, with the barakat of 5 Amma Yujibus. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Ahibai, Allah Azza wa Jalla has created everything within the realm of existence for a purpose. Nothing within the system of creation is without a purpose. And you find that as man embarks upon this journey of realizing the purpose of his existence, you find that many parts of the world, many people within the world, they have a life without a purpose. Their sole concern is that they wake up, they amass wealth, they think about satisfying their carnal desires and filling their stomachs. And the Jallakumullah, such people are not any more different than the animal kingdom. As you find the animal kingdom, the major concern of an animal is what? In fact, the sole purpose, ham and the gham of the animal is that it wants to fulfill its carnal desires, it wants to secure its food, it wants to secure its territory. And when you come to the human world, you find that primarily those concerns are the same. Just the shape and the pictures and the terminologies are different. But when you boil it down, the reality is one. And hence you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites man to fulfill the purpose of their existence. We are separated and we are distinguished from the rest of the khalq due to the power of the intellect, the aql. Allah has made the human being superior to all of the creation because of the faculty of this aql. And this aql, this intellect now is then used as a tool through which we are able to fulfill the purpose of our existence. Habibi, why were we created? Just to eat, just to drink, just to consummate and live, and then what? What are we worth? For what purpose were we created? And you find that the man has been commanded and man has been invited to use the intellect to ponder over this answer such that he may live a life of purpose. But in order for the intellect to make a decision and to recognize the purpose of its existence, the aql is in need of some exterior source of guidance. And for this reason you find that Allah Azza wa Jalla has revealed upon us divine texts. And you have this Quran that Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen in the Khutbah Fadakiyyah, she refers to this book as a manual that leads a person towards success, najat. And you find that through the Quran, man is able to realize the purpose of his existence. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Ahibai, liya'budun over here, to be an abd is not restricted to salat and saum and ibadat and dhikr, abadan la, with all its ahamiyya. But the word abd, The noun abd derived from the verb abada, يعني a person spends every breath of his life in service towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every breath that you take, you are in sync with the commandments of Allah, either from the wajibat or the mustahabbat. There's an entire purpose that you are created for. And this maqam of ubudiyyah, in essence, is a maqam of perfection. The human being has been created in order to seek and attain perfection. And in addition to these divine texts, in addition to the Quran, you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us with role models. Because the human fitrah, human nature requires, or human nature dictates, that as you embark upon a journey of seeking perfection, it is within the nature of a human being to look somewhere for inspiration. The human being needs to look up to a role model that they can emulate. This is now the psychology of role models and the psychology of emulation. And you see that this is a concept, yani, that is fitri, a concept that anybody, any human being can relate to. Muslim, non-Muslim, Ahl al-Kitab, Ghair Dhalik, Mulhid, whatever he is, atheist. And this is why it's a very logical concept until you see Janabak have people, person is aspiring to be, for example, a footballer. And as he aspires to become a professional footballer, for example, he has got role models, whether it be in the Premiership or whatever it is, La Liga, whatever. But you see that person has got this role model. And he will examine his technique and his tactic. More than that, he will emulate his hairstyle, he will emulate his looks. Because human nature is such that you look out for inspiration. Similarly, when it comes to businesses, you find that a person who is struggling in his business, looking for some sort of inspiration, you find all these, be it clips on YouTube or whatever it is, motivational speeches, motivational talks, Bain al-Qawsain. You know, Ahibba'i, motivational talks is one of the fastest growing and most profitable industries that exist in this day and age. Why? Because it is upon the recognition of human psychology, the need of a role model. Subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jalla has talked about this in the Quran thousands of years ago. So you find people who are struggling, look for inspirational talks, be it Bill Gates or Fulan wa Madri Man. They have all these guys. But, so if we understand that the human need is that it seeks out inspiration, and we are looking for role models who we can emulate and who can be inspirations for us, the next step or the next question is, how do we select the correct role model? Because if you choose the wrong role model, you aspire to be somebody who is in essence a failure, somebody who takes you towards wal-ayadu billah nar jahannam. If I have a role model who is constantly doing haram, I get influenced by him and fall into haram. It's very logical and very basic and straightforward. So you find within the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only points towards the importance of man looking for role models as inspiration, as a human need, but in addition to that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even tells us who we need to go to and who we need to take as a role model. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ عُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and indeed within the Holy Prophet is the best model of emulation for you. If you are looking for a role model to emulate, you're looking for success in life, you are looking for success in business, you are looking for happiness, you are looking for a path to get to Jannah, then we have a role model for you. Pick any aspect of his life. If you follow it, it leads you towards Jannah. So if we understand this as an introduction, Ahibba'i, we move forward. You find Tawqi' al-Sharif. Tawqi' yani a handwritten letter that emanates from Mawlana Sahib al-Amri wa Zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In this Tawqi', whenever you come across the hadith Tawqi', yani written letter with the seal of the Imam, and you find that when you read through Islamic history, you will see that from the time of Imam al-Hadi, Imam al-Askari, leading up to the Ghaiba of the Imam, these three Imams primarily communicated with the rest of the Shia through written letters because of all the imposition and all the barriers and all the scrutiny and red tapes. They were primarily under house arrest. They were not able to meet with the public openly, so that they would communicate with them through letters. And you find that within these letters, this letter that the 12th Imam writes to one of the Nawab, the four Naibs of the Imam, one of them Shaykh al-Amari. In this, the 12th Imam writes to one of his Naibs, and he says, وَإِنَّ فِي إِبْنَةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ وَإِنَّ فِي إِبْنَةِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ لِي أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Allah. Imam al-Hujjah says, and indeed within the daughter of Rasulullah, yani within Sayyida Fatimah al-Zahra, is the best model of emulation for me. Ajib. Who is speaking? This Imam al-Hujjah. Which Imam al-Hujjah? Hadith come forward and said this Imam al-Hujjah, الذي يملأ الأرض عدلا وقسطا كما ملئت ظلما وجورا. This awaited Mahdi who will fill the entire dunya with peace and justice. This Mahdi who is going to avenge the blood of Imam al-Hussein in Karbala. This Mahdi who will complete the message of all the Anbiya from Adam to Khatam. This Mahdi is saying, my role model is Sayyidah Fatimah al-Zahra. So this Adabah of Sayyidah Fatimah, awaited Mahdi. The dhuhur of Imam al-Hujjah was something that the Anbiya used to look forward to. Find within the hadith, Allah Azza wa Jalla used to talk to Nabi Musa about the end of times when the Mahdi shall appear. Kalimullah. This awaited Imam says, my role model is Fatima. Therefore, Ikhwani, you and I who aspire to be from amongst the Ansar and the Ashab of Imam al-Hujjah, it becomes important for us that we also take Sayyidah Zahra as a role model. Because the master who we are waiting for, his role model is Fatima alayhi salam. So therefore for us as well, we need to go and emulate that same role model. Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, role model for us in that the way we lead our lives, we need to take lessons from her life and implement them in ours. And this opens now the door of the madrasa of Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen. A madrasa that is so vast, Ikhwani. Majority of our problems, rather all our problems, economic, ideological, social, all our problems, Saddikuni, all our problems would be eradicated if we were to live our lives as per the teachings of Sayyidah Zahra. They need just that determination. And I give you some examples. You find that from the life of Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen. And this is perhaps an incident that almost every one of you, if not every one of you, is familiar with. An incident which is so simple, yet an incident that needs a lot of tahleel, needs analysis and contemplation to extract lessons from it. From the seerah of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen, it is narrated that Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, at a young age, it's probably under the age of 5 or just around the age of 5, 4, 5, whatever, around that age. He narrates that it was a Thursday night, Laylatul Jumu'ah, Thursday night. I saw my mother on the musalla, on the prayer mat, in a state of ibadat, in a state of worship, all the way until the time of Fajr. And this entire night that she spent in worship, Imam Hassan says, I heard her praying for her neighbors. I heard her praying for the well-being and for the success of the Ansar and the Muhajirin up till the time of Fajr. As it approached the time of Fajr and the signs of daybreak began to appear within the horizon, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba says, I asked my mother, oh mother, you spent the entire night in ibadah. You prayed for everybody, oh mother, but you didn't pray for yourself. You didn't pray for your family. And Sayyidah Zahra comes out with this eternal statement where she says to her son, Ya Hassan, Ajjar thumma dar. She says to him, my son Hassan, the neighbors before the people of the house. This incident, Ahibai, is a madrasa when it comes to tarbiyah. We sit down and we try and analyze point by point. Number one, you find that Imam al-Mujtaba says, Laylatul Jumu'ah, my mother was in a state of ibadah from Maghrib until sunrise. Ikhwani, the importance of Laylatul Jumu'ah, the importance of Thursday nights. It is narrated within the seerah that the ashab of Rasulullah, the likes of Salman al-Muhammadi, this Salman who had the secrets of Ahlul Bayt, reached a daraja such that Rasulullah says, Salman minna Ahlul Bayt. Salman is from us, the Ahlul Bayt. The narrations or the seerah, within the seerah of Salman, it is mentioned that on Wednesdays, Salman would sit down and he would plan out how he is going to use his Thursday night, how he is going to spend his Thursday night. Hours are restricted. They have understood the importance of Thursday night. They have made a schedule, they've made a diary, hour by hour, minute by minute, how they're going to use this night. The barakat that descends down upon us on Thursday night is a barakat that doesn't descend upon us in any other night, in any other week. Such that the narrations are mentioned on authority of Imam al-Baqir that one of the biggest regrets of the people in the Akhirah will be that they regretted sleeping on Thursday nights. Everybody has work, everybody has schedule and schools. Bila shak, if a person is not able to spend an entire night awake Thursday night, a big portion of the night, if a person usually sleeps 8 hours, minimize to 6 hours, minimize to 4 hours. In any case, something special is done on that Thursday night where additional hours are given to ibadat. Special hours or time is given to seeking ilm. Biggest regret in Alam al-Barzakh. The person will say, I wish I could come back to the dunya just so that I don't sleep on a Thursday night. Shuf the importance of Laylatul Jumu'ah. For these hadithul kisas and dua kumail and ziyarat waritha that happens on a Thursday night, Ahibai, take advantage of these. Come to the Husayniyah, come to the mosque, and attain from the barakat of Allah. Doors of rizq are open on Thursday, ikhwani. For number one, importance of Laylatul Jum'ah. This in itself is a lecture on its own, but tonight's lecture is by way of index. So I give you isharas, points that you can now research perhaps on your own. Number one, the importance of Laylatul Jum'ah. Number two, you find over here that this entire event is narrated by Imam al-Hassan. Imam al-Hassan is not more than the age of 5. Notice, the one narrating this hadith is Imam al-Hassan, and his age is not more than 5. Meaning what? If Imam Hassan is narrating the hadith, ya'ni he was a witness to the ibadah, to the salat and the du'as of his mother from the time of Maghrib to the time of Fajr. Meaning that Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen. This is not by chance, this is not by coincidence. Sayyidati Nisa'il Alameen this is a tarbiyah where she teaches us that when you as parents are doing ibadat, keep your children awake and keep your children next to you. See, Imam Hassan at a young age is observing the ibadat of his mother, which is why he asked the question. Many times, ikhwani, with all due respect, we tend to underestimate the spiritual ability and capacity of our children. ના તો બચ્ચો છે બાના થાકી જશે ઓલો કા શું સમજે છે ઓલો કા ભલે ને સુઈ જ જાય બચાવ અમે નમાઝ પડતો હોય દુઆ પડતો હોય ઓલો કા અહીંયા ખોટી રીતે રારા પાડતા હોય રોતો હોય કજિયા કરતા હોય આપણો પોતાના ઇબાદત બગડી જાય છે. Sometimes this is how we think, right? These are our kids, we keep them here, they're going to start crying, shouting, take my more, this, that, what not, trouble us. Baba, put for them the iPad, put for them the computer, or send them to bed, and now we concentrate on our ibadat. Abadan la. In the madrasa of Sayyidah Zahra, it's the opposite. Your children sit, let them, even if they cry, ya ikhwan. The child is like a sponge. These ma'alim, these ma'arif, when the child from a young age sees his mother, sees his father in a state of ibadat, in a state of worship, communicating with the Lord of the universe. These, you know, in logic, in the field of mantiq, we are taught that the mind thinks in human pictures. That's why if somebody was to ask you, you remember that trip, for example, that we went to Karbala 5 years ago. When you are recalling that trip, what happens is that you are recalling that trip, that image of Karbala comes up. You think in your mind through pictures. And the field of logic then goes on to say that these pictures are stored at the back of our mind. This is what we call our subconscious memory. And then, as events happen in life, these pictures may be brought back to the forward of the mind, front of the mind. Something triggers this movement. The same thing when it comes to ibadat and tarbiyah of the children. When the child sees his mother, when the child sees his father in a state of ibadah at a young age, from the time of infancy, these images are captured by the human mind and are stored in a hard drive, you can say, somewhere at the back of this khazana. And later on in the future, some point in his life, these memories are triggered back. Sometimes parent complains, he says, my child at the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, bulugh, they don't pray, they don't want to pray, they don't want to fast, because we're way too late in the game. Salat had to be introduced in the younger ages. From the time of nursing, if the infant is seeing that the mother and father in a state of salah, by the time they reach the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, habibi, no-brainer. It's easy for them to digest this. Tarbiyah, like a sponge, the psychology of raising children. You have within the maraja and the ulama, you look at the tarbiyah. Is one of our maraja passed away. He says that from the time I can remember, My mother used to wake me up for Salatul Layl. 3, 4, 5-year-old. Ajib. 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't underestimate the spiritual ability of your child. Even at a very materialistic level. No pain, no. Build the spirituality of a child needs struggle. He says, my mother used to wake me up at 4, 5. Whatever, from the time I can remember. The child used to cry, the mother used to give her, she used to cut apricots. She used to give the child is crying, she gives the child an apricot. He's eating his apricot, now he's happy, he's forgotten, he's woken up from his sleep, sitting next to the musalla of his mother with his apricot. The mother is in ibadat. This alim says, my life until his death, and he lived almost till about late 80s, he never missed Salatul Layl. His mind, alarm clock. Default, alarm clock. Why? Shattered by his mother and his father, tarbiyah. Number 1. Number 2, ahibai. Lessons in tarbiyah is that when a child sees the mother and the father living a life of piety, it affects the child 1,000 times more than words. You could tell your child, we could tell our children, we could tell our siblings 100 times, pray your salat, pray your salat, pray your salat, recite Quran, won't make a difference, or if it makes a difference, it's minimal, as compared to when your child or when your sibling sees that you actually have opened the Quran and are reading it. When they see their parents, it makes a greater difference on them, impact. And this is from the madrasa of Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen. This cannot be done every day or once a week. School holidays it can be done. This is why you have ma'arif. This is an entire field in itself. That when a mother feeds the child, she's in a state of wudu. When the mother is in pregnancy, she's in a state of wudu. Ahibai, the role of the father when it comes to tarbiyah. The father is the disciplinary figure in the house, supposed to take an active role in that sense. And I don't want to scare you or anything, but many times we feel, even with our siblings, not necessarily only the talk is for parents, no, sometimes with siblings. I feel that no, these guys are young, even if they're doing haram acts, a person is drinking, person is getting high, smoking weed, madri shu, living a good life, enjoying his youth. Sometimes I think as a parent, as a sibling, they're still young, let them enjoy their life. When they become older, they've got their entire life to become religious. She doesn't wear hijab, it's okay, let her enjoy her beauty. When she becomes older, she can wear hijab. Baba, hijab was not when you're old and nobody wants to look at you. Hijab is when you're young and the entire dunya wants to look at you. Now we change the measures. Sometimes we think, nah, let them relax, let them enjoy. Baba, Quran tells us, Yawmul Qiyamah, when people are going to be punished for their sins, they're going to say, Ya Allah, catch my parents, punish my parents before you punish me. Ajib. Quran. You read within the Quran, it gives us a description of Yawmul Qiyamah. Surah Abasa. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surah Al-Abasa. You can check this out from verse number 34 onwards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the signs of Yawmul Qiyamah, and time is running out for. He says, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ إِمْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. The day, Yawmul Qiyamah, the day where a person will run away from his brother. Ajib. He will run away from his mother, he will run away from his father, they will run away from their children, and they will run away from their spouses. Fikriya, Habibi, people are in the mahshar, in their kaffans. Nar Jahannam in front of them, Mizan in front of them, that Sirat is in front of them. People see each other. I see my son in the mahshar, I run away from him. I see my mother, I run away from her. Parents are running away from children. Children are running away from parents. Every type of chaos. Do you know why they are running away from each other? Because there is that fear that no, my child is going to catch me and blame me for the sins that I've done. And sarahatan, the child will say, Ya Allah, before you punish me, punish my parents because they never gave me the tarbiyah. Punish my husband, punish my wife, punish my brothers, punish my sisters. Nafsa nafsi. Ikhwani, nar jahannam. Faith becomes important. Tarbiyah. And tarbiyah is something that is not brought by force or by violence. Abadan la. Religion is a religion of love. And you find that this is the madrasa of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. There is a request, Ikhwani, one more time before we start the Masa'ib. If you can kindly move a little bit forward, so the guys who are joining us have a little bit more space to come inside. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Madrasa of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen is a madrasa of tarbiyah. From the madrasa of Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen, we learn how a person should defend the Imam Zaman of their time. Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen, Ahibba'i, sacrificed the most precious thing to defend the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. She sacrificed Muhsin. She gave Muhsin as a sacrifice to ensure that the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen would be defended. We will speak about this tomorrow in a lot of detail, inshallah, if Allah gives us a chance. But the events that transpired upon the martyrdom of Rasulullah, this is the Masa'ib I want to start. If we can dim the lights, Ahibba'i, we can begin the Masa'ib. The narrations mention. The narrations mention that upon the martyrdom of Rasulullah, the Ashab from the Ansar and the Muhajirin, they abandoned the Janazah of Rasulullah and they met in the Saqifa of Bani Sa'ad, and they decided to choose a leader from amongst themselves. They disobeyed the command of Allah Azza wa Jal when He appointed and designated Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib as the Khalifa of the Muslimin on the day of Ghadir. When the Muslims went ahead and selected their leader, they met in Masjidun Nabawi. Amir al-Mu'mineen, together with a number of the Bani Hashim and some of the Sahaba, the likes of Salman, Miqdad and Abu Dhar, had not given the bay'ah to the Khalifa who was appointed. Then the Jibt and the Taghut who were seated in the masjid, the second one said to the first one, we should impose the bay'ah on Abu al-Hasan, for indeed if Ali ibn Abi Talib does not give the bay'ah, we shall not be able to stamp the legitimacy over the people of Medina. He asked the first one, the Jibt asked the Taghut, who should we send to the house of Abu al-Hasan? He replied back and said, we should send Kunfuth, فَإِنَّهُ رَجُلٌ فَضٌّ غَلِيظٌ مِنَ الْتُلَقَى. We should send Kunfuth because indeed he is a violent and a merciless man. The narrations mention that they sent Kunfuth to the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen to get him to come to the mosque and give the bay'ah. Kunfuth went to the house of Fatima and he cried out, O Abul Hasan, the Khalifa of Rasulullah is calling you to give the bay'ah in the masjid. Amir al-Mu'mineen replied by saying, how quickly have they lied? There is no Khalif of Rasulullah except for myself. Kunfud returned back to the mosque and told the Jibt and Taghut that Ali ibn Abi Talib refuses to acknowledge you as the Khalifa of Rasulullah. So he sent him again to go and call Amir al-Mu'mineen. Kunfud went to the house of Imam Ali and Sayyidah-Zahra for a second time, and he cried out, O Abul Hassan, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ibn Abi Quhafa is calling you to the masjid to give the bay'ah. Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali turned up at the door and said, Subhanallah, what a great lie is this. The title Amir al-Mu'mineen is exclusive to me from the day of Ghadir. Kunfud returned back to the mosque. He replied back to the first Jibt and he said to him, he refuses to acknowledge you as the Amir al-Mu'mineen. After that they sent Kunfud for a third time. Kunfud went and said, O Abul Hassan, the Khalifa of the Muslimin is calling you to give bay'ah. Amir al-Mu'mineen said, if he's a Khalif that is appointed by the people, he has no right to obligate and to force those who have chosen him, and I am not from the one who has chosen him. Kunfud returned back, and then they sent him and they said, say that Ibn Abu Quhafa is calling you to the mosque. For the fourth time when Kunfud went to the house, they said to him, Ibn Abi Quhafa is calling you to the masjid. O Abul Hassan, if you do not come and give the bay'ah, we shall forcefully enter your house. Sayyidah-Zahra came behind the door and she said to him, Uharrij alaykum an tadkhulu bayti bighayri idhni. She said that I prohibit you to enter my house without my permission. Kunfud went to the masjid and he said to the Jibt and the Taghut that Fatima has said she does not allow anyone for us to enter into the house. At this point, the Taghut stood up, the Fir'aun of the Ummah, he stood up and said, Ma lana walin nisa, what do we have to do with the women of this Ummah? And then he said, we shall forcefully enter into the house of Ali. The first one said to the second, Idhan i'tinihi bi'a'nafil unf wa in abaw faqtulhum. The first one said to the second one, bring Ali ibn Abi Talib out of the house in the most violent of ways, and if he refuses to come out of the house, then kill him. The narrations mention that Ibn Sahaq came out from the masjid together with 300 people from amongst the Ansar and the Muhajirin, and he cried out, we shall go to the house of Abul Hassan. If he refuses to give the bay'ah, we shall burn down their house. One of the Muhajirin cried out and said, oh man, but inside the house is Fatima and her children. The man said, wa in, so what? Allah. The narrations mention Ibn Abi Qutayba says that I heard the trampling, the galloping of the horses, and I heard the hitting of the spears on the ground. The noise was such that I felt there is a tremor in the earth, on the land of Medina. 300 people from the Munafiqeen and the Tulaka went and surrounded the house of Fatima az-Zahra. The Fir'aun of the Ummah cried out, Ya Abul Hassan, come out and give the bay'ah to the Khalifa of the Muslimin like everyone else. At this moment, Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen came out from behind the door. The narrations mention that Sayyidah-Zahra had a bandage around her head. She was weak due to the grief of the death of her father, Rasulullah. She stood weakly behind the door and she said to him, Mada taqulun ya ibn Sahaq, Mada turidun wa Mada taqulun. O Ibn Sahaq, what do you want and what are you saying, for he replied back and said, why has Abu Hassan sent you to the door while he is hiding in the house? Sayyidah Zahra replied back by saying, Tughyanuka ya shaqi wa ulzimuka al-hujjah. Your oppression, O evil person, has led me to come behind the door such that I may do tamam al-hujjah, I may finalize the argument over you. He cried out and said, tell Ali to come out and give the bay'ah, wa illa la ahrukanna al-bayt alaykum. If Ali does not come out, I shall burn down this house upon you. Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen cried out and said, wayhak ya ibn as-Sahhak, ma hadihi al-jur'atu ala Allah wa ala rasulih. She said, woe be upon you, O Ibn Sahhak. How do you have this audacity? How dare you come and approach the house of Allah and the Prophet in this manner? Do you not fear Allah? So he replied back by saying, Kafiya Fatima, keep quiet Fatima, فَإِنَّ مُحَمَّدْ لَيْسَ حَاضِرًا. Indeed Muhammad is not alive. وَلَا الْمَلَائِكَةُ آتِيَةٌ بِالْأَمْرِ وَالنَّهِي وَالزَّجْرِ. And the malaika are not going to come down with any more wahi or any more commands. So keep quiet and tell Ali to come back out. She cried out and she said, O Ibn Sahhak, ala tattaqillah. He said, do you not fear Allah? He cried out, he said, O Fatima, keep quiet and stop the babbling of the normal women. Allahu Akbar. Fatima cried out and said, Ya Rasulullah, I complain to you of the evils of this ummah after you. At this moment, the narrations mention that they put the firewood around the house, and he cried out, Ibn Sahha cried out, O Ali, come out, and if you do not, I shall burn down your house. Sayyidah Zahra again cried out, I shall complain to Allah for what and how you were treating us after the death of the Prophet. The narrations mention that Ibn Khattab took a torch of fire and he lit the door of Fatima. Allah, Allah, the door of Fatima was burning. Sayyidat Zahra says that the heat from the flames of the burning door and the smoke, I was choking behind the door. At this moment, the narrations mention فَرَفَسَ الْبَابَ بِرِجْلِهِ. He kicked the door with his leg. فَعَسَّرَ فَاطِمَةَ بَيْنَ الْبَابِ وَالْجِدَارِ. He crushed Fatima between the door and the wall. Allah, Allah. He crushed Fatima between the door and the wall. The narrations mention Salman says that there was a nail that was protruding from the door. It pierced the chest of Fatima. Her lungs got pierced. The narration mentions she cried out in a voice that was so painful, Ya Abata, Ya Rasulallah. The narrations mention that as soon as he heard the cry of Fatima, he kicked the door for a second time with all his strength. The narration says, فَعَسَّرَهَا بَيْنَ الْبَابِ وَالْجِدَارِ وَكُسِرَتْ ضِلُعُهَا. The rib of Fatima was broken. She fell down to the ground. The flames of the burning door are burning his face. At this moment, Hassan and the Hussein, little children, are standing on the other side. Zainab al-Kubra, who is 3 or 4, she holds the hand of Imam al-Hassan. She says, Brother Hassan. She says, Brother Hassan, why are they beating our mother? Brother Hassan, why are they burning our house? I say, Ya Zainab, Ya Zainab, the way they are burning the door of your mother, they are going to burn your tents on Sham Ghariban. The narrations mention that he entered into the house. Sayyidat Zahra was crushed between the door and the wall. The narration mentions that when she cried out, Wa Abata, this la'een, this zalim slapped Fatima across the chin.
across the face. The earring of Fatima broke. Imam al-Sadiq says her earring broke. He slapped her across the face. He removed his sword. With the handle of the sword, he hit Fatima on the shoulder. He hit Fatima across the shoulder. Ya Shi'at Amir al-Mu'mineen, I don't know if you will be able to hear the next words of the Maktal, but put your hands on your heart. Ya Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman, A'dam Allah laka al-Ajr. The narration mentions, فَرَفَسَهَا بِرِجْلِهِ. He kicked Fatima on the stomach. He kicked Fatima on the stomach. Wa Muhammada! Fatima cried out, Ya Fidda! Sannidini! Oh Fidda, come and help me! Muhsin has become shaheed! The narration mentions the tragedy didn't start with Ibn Khattab, didn't stop with Ibn Khattab. The narration mentions that Mughira ibn Shu'bah entered and Kunfud entered. The narration mentions Kunfud slapped Fatima for a second time. He slapped her in such a manner, her eye became swollen until the time of her death.
Matame Fatima, Matame Hussein.
Chupa पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए कैसे। अभी बाबा के जनाजे पे ही गश खाया था, इस मुसीबत से अभी होश भी न आया था। गम वो मौसी का मनाए तो, गम वो मौसी का मनाए तो मनाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए 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 कैसे। तीर ही तीर है आंखों में और बदल है, प्यास मकदर है और शाम है खुला सर है। हम वो मौसी का मनाए तो, हम वो मौसी का मनाए तो मनाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए 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 कैसे। चक्कियाँ पीस के बच्चों को पालने वाली, वही ज़हरा है फरिश्तों को पालने वाली। इसे दरबार में जाना हो, इसे दरबार में जाना हो तो जाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए 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 कैसे। असरे आशूर है बेटे का गला और मंजर, सामने मौत है और देख रही है मादर। हाथ गर्दन से हटाए तो, हाथ गर्दन से हटाए तो हटाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए 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 कैसे। करके तहरीर ये नौहा बड़ा तड़पे यास, दिल को थामे हुए पड़ते हुए रोए सांस। फातिमा गम तेरा किरदास, फातिमा गम तेरा किरदास मिलाए कैसे, जख्म पहलू का छुपाए तो छुपाए 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 कैसे। फरात अलमदारे करबला आया, लबे 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 फरात अलमदारे करबला आया। वफा को नाज है जिस पर, वफा को नाज है जिस पर, वो बावफा आया, लबे फरात अलमदारे करबला 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 आया। अली का अहद जवानी पलट के आया है, इसीलिए पर जिब्रील थरथराया है, अलम का नूर ज़मीं से फलक पे छाया है, ज़मीं पे फिर अबू तालिब का, ज़मीं पे फिर अबू तालिब का नक्श पाया, लबे फरात अलमदारे करबला आया, 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 लबे फरात अलमदारे करबला आया। जली का सीना है यार का मदीना है, अली के ताज शुजाअत का ये नगीना है, सकीना प्यासी है दिल मिसले आबदीना है, ये मश्क है या उठाए, ये मश्क है या उठाए, हुए दुआ आया, लबे फरात अलमदारे करबला 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 आया। इसे हवा में नमी की नमक गवारा नहीं, कदम दरारी में ये सोच के उतारा नहीं, कबूल पानी का गाजी को इस जब बारात पानी की बहुत करते थे अशरारे यजीदी बात पानी की, मगर दरिया पे पहुंचे ठोकरे मारी चले आए और बता दी हजरत अब्बास ने औकात पानी की। करते बाजू छिदी मश्की बची रह गई प्यासी और जमीन पे खून बनकर हो गई बरसात पानी की। या अब्बास, या एहतियातन सांस अपनी रोक ली अब्बास, मौज को सर उठाकर देखती ही रह गई, इतनी ऊंचाई पे रख दी तशबीह अब्बास ने। या ज़ैनब भी साथ चली, अलम के दम से है अब तक हयात पानी की, चली की जीत हुई और मातानी की। असद शेर सुलजलाल सलाम, वफा की आखिरी हद के महे कमाल सलाम, नहीं है दोनों जहां में तेरी मिसाल सलाम, तेरे कटे हुए बाजू निजात पानी की, तेरे बदन का पसीना ज़कात पानी की। या जनाब ज़ैनब बेगम का आसरा अब्बास, कभी बरात वक़्त फूल ये लिखा अब्बास, हमारी नजर लबी है बरात पानी की, हयात प्यासों की ठहरी वफ़ात पानी की। और जनाब सकीना का कलाम है वो वाक़ई में पेश करता हूँ। जो कैद हो के चला कारवान आले नबी, नजर सकीना की सजादे ना तमाम में पड़ी, के ताज़ियान भी जिसको लगा रहे तशती, तड़प के इस तरह शिमरे सादे अब्बा यूं न तुर्रे लगा भाई बीमार है जनाब सकीना क्या इरशाद फरमा रही है? अरे क्या मिले